What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, class swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Spy a little bit all over the place. We did have some retail numbers. I think they came in slightly higher than expected, but still down month over month. So nothing too crazy. Still progressions, not as much as they kind of wanted. So it is what it is. But you got Anna in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Andrew, Bill, Brad, Diane. Good morning to George, Jake, Jeff's in the house. Good morning to Jeffrey. We got Joe, Lucian, Martina. Peter, good morning. We got Rob, Ruben, Scott, Shane, Tim, all my people out in YouTube land. Good morning to all of you. We got Clarice in the house, Santilla, all my lurkers in the background, who's just not going to comment the whole time and just be lurking there in the background. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. And Sky's not in the background. Good morning to you as well. But yeah, interesting location for a spy to open at. So we are gapping down slightly. I think this is going to be a game time decision, honestly, because the market is still got 27 minutes till we open. Otherwise, not a good. It looked a little bit better before. Looked a little bit like potential bounce, but if we open, I think under 590.88, we could see a little bit of a panic sell. So maybe out of the gate, we get bought up into this 590.88 zone. Um, if we could break through it, then we have more of a shot, obviously, for this retest. Whether that comes into 593.32, I think the better spot would be 594. But looking weak. Looking and again, keep in mind the market is just up absolutely massive, especially the last pretty much week and a half. Could we just get some pullbacks? Does it feel like a lot? Of course. Is the market absolutely getting crushed to the lower side? Probably not yet. I don't think I could put it in that camp. Not quite yet. In reality, here's our weekly chart. Big bullish engulfing candle, good breakout. We did have a little tiny bull trap, got a little bit higher than last week, but for the most part, now we're pulling back. Let's see what that 50% retracement is just of this 1 week. What would be a good spot? Let's find out. It's about there and about here, something like that. All right, so we get a pullback. We got that 38% retracement, which is very doable for today. That would take us into this 587.87 zone, and then we have the 50% retracement doesn't come down till 584.07. And then I got 580.26. This should be a strong level to hold is the 618. That might be enough time for that 20 EMA on a weekly to catch up a little bit. We're far extended from everything. So Peter says, so you're saying it is good to be a bear soon? Um, yeah, you guys remember that movie, The Big Short? You guys remember that movie where they just shorted the U.S. housing market, and then 2008 came, and even before that, they got in there early, and they're like, I don't know, maybe we're wrong, and then Batman's clients all got upset. Um, yeah, that movie. Yeah, I don't think this is The Big Short. I don't think we're there yet. Um, but I know people want to be in the next movie for The Big Short. And some of you guys are like, yeah, I'm going heavy. I'm going to throw my entire account to the short direction. Um, it's I don't think we're in that spot where we're going to just see that big nosedive yet. If we do and you're doing that and that actually happens, fantastic for you. But I think if you're playing to the short side, you want to be making your money quick. I don't think I think longer term the market is built to go higher, which is how the market's built every single month. More money from more retirement accounts and everything else, 401ks, all that stuff start piling in every single month. The props the market's up. Inflation goes up, so the amount of profits companies make, even if they don't sell another single thing, will consistently just kind of increase with time. So the market's made to go up. Can we see a random spike or black swan and things like that? Of course. But leading to the short side of things, um, yeah, I mean, we have this wide open gap, 575.77. Again, that's going to take us past even at 618, but could we close a gap? Of course. That could take us back to election gap, right? And then maybe we start moving from there. Maybe it gets scary first. But if you're in short, yeah, I don't mind at least having some hedges or protections. You could even go short, but I wouldn't be holding it for like, yeah, the next 3 months we're going to be just absolutely tanking. We might, but I don't see it yet. So I think we're just in a kind of healthy pullback. We'll see. Joe says I'm buying Best Buy for Black Friday. Yeah, you got Black Friday, so um Best Buy, Walmart, I would say would be decent too. You might be buying Macy's. I don't know. Does people shop? I guess people still shop at Macy's. They got their Thanksgiving Day parade, so they're gonna have a lot of advertisement comes out around that time, and then comes off. Santa does not walk into the Macy's anymore. They stopped that a while ago. But he'll do a drive-by. So you got drive-by Santa. But yeah, you can start looking at some of those. Amazon would be a good one. Shopify could be a good one heading into that. But yeah, that's probably the next little pop in the market that we're all talking about numbers. Was it a good Black Friday or is people still buying things? But for right now, we'll see again where this thing opens at. And that's going to be key to me. If we're like right at it or right below it, I'm going to give the market a minute or two just to see if we can get above it with that retest as it is now. We had 4 days in a row selling, and you got one down day. So I think more or less you probably got some shorts that are profitable and might want to cover. But then again, you are walking into a resistance. Qs are looking a little bit more like a retest to me. So the Qs got as again, we still have 21 minutes till the market opens. That being said, you got 503.36. That should be support that I'd like to see holds. You're gonna get your next little hesitation, which I do think we get above it, but 505.54. That's just the closing price of the candle from November 6th. And then I think the next big resistance, 508.57. I don't really have the next resistance up until 510.75. I'm going out on a limb. Let's see if we can go out on a limb here. This is not financial advice because this is going to be way off, guaranteed. But what if we close right into that 510 zone, 510.50? How interesting would that be going into next week? You had a good pullback. You got close to the moving averages. Again, I don't know. I don't know what happens. But then we got the whole weekend. We don't know if we just hit the resistance, we close there, and then we push higher, or or if that's just a retest and then we gap down next week. That'll be an interesting close, but we'll see. I'm gonna watch for that later today. Lucian says complete Republican government and a Trump White House is probably not the time to be a full bear. Oddly enough, oddly enough, I know you Trumpers, you Trumpers out there. But it would go the same for you. What is it? Harrisers? That doesn't flow. It doesn't flow as much as the Trumpers. But the markets actually do better when you have mixed government. So when you got like the House to Democrats, you got the Senate to Republicans, and then either or for president. You typically have a better market just because there's less policies actually being passed, and the market knows what to expect. When you have full Democrat or full Republican, you actually can get some bills passed, and you're just not really sure which one or how they affect anything. So the market's kind of a little bit iffier. So, and then also technically, historically, markets actually do better under a Democrat than a Republican in general too. So, just fun facts, but we'll see. And then I think I forget what the exact statistic was, but after you have a crazy run in the market, I think the next year is essentially flat, it's like a 3% gain or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see if any of those. I mean, we just went through COVID, we went through everything else, so let's see if any history actually holds up, or we just skyrocket to 1,000 on the spot. Why not? It will all depend on Nvidia earnings, I think. Yeah, and then you got Nvidia earnings coming out too. The one I'm watching, that I really want to see. And I talked about this in the swing room yesterday, but his TLT, behind people are kind of worried. They're not buying it. But yeah, we'll see if TLT could kind of hang this level and then just roll up from here. But when you lower the interest rates, everybody's expectations is that the the longer term bonds start to come down, and they're not quite doing what you would think on. So there's a little skepticism still. I still think we got like a March, April, interesting month. But until then, we probably just hang out. We still got optimism into the Trump election or into January 20th, I guess. Yep. Let me know if you guys got tickers you'd like to take a look at. The first one I see is Tesla, so I'm going to leave those lines on my chart. That's kind of where I'm looking for a pyramid that we kind of set up yesterday. I also saw it in Slack, and if you guys in YouTube land are not in Slack, I believe they're still doing a lifetime membership for $25 one-time payment, and you get access to Slack. So you can check that out. Also, if you guys want to be on the other side and not be on YouTube and be in the rooms, there's also a 2-week free trial for the trading rooms, just FYI. But we did talk about how to establish a pyramid here. But right now, Tesla's gapping up a little bit, but you're about to run into a monster resistance that just got built in. So somewhere right around this 318.27, I think would be actually an interesting spot for a short to come in. I got my next target all the way down to 297.86. And then after that, I've got 288.71. That's my first level for buying. I might be doing something where it's not a group or anything like that, but for me personally, and maybe if you guys want to do it with me, maybe we'll do getting just free shares of Tesla for like 2.5 years, just constantly selling puts, using the revenue just to buy shares. Because if you're at these levels, right, and I think probably Tesla goes higher. But are we at the? Will we back at like that 287 zone? Are we even at 200? No, we're not. We're pretty far away. But what would make this trade very easy for us is if we actually did not do anything and put real money into Tesla, but we just own lots of shares. So I think what I might do is just continuously sell puts, take the revenue and buy as many shares as I possibly can until you have 100. Then I continuously sell puts and then just sell some calls against it and just play that game over and over again and just kind of compound interest and have free shares. This way, in the worst case scenario, Tesla goes to zero. We actually didn't lose anything. And if it goes up, we enjoy the full upside. So we'll see. Bill says I have a covered call for November 22nd. Could close it out for 40% premium and then turn around and sell so much shares for 4K profit. Should I do it? I'm not gonna give you financial advice, Bill, but I can tell you what I would do. I would wait. I would wait. Um, the other factors that would kind of play into it is how big is it into your portfolio? How much does it affect anything? Um, I'm not sure. I mean, you got November 22nd. That's right around the corner. We'll be there before you know it. I think I think longer term, probably I would say Tesla goes higher from here. So I would hang on to those covered calls for me for a little bit longer, try to get at least 50% premium capture, worst case. Make as much money of those premium as possible. Yes, your overall portfolio will be going down as Tesla comes down with it. But then again, you're also pulling out more cash from that. And then obviously if this thing reverses and just shoots up to wherever your strike is, you get taken out at higher pricing, which you'll be profitable on those shares at a much higher price. So for right now, I wouldn't really freak out about that. But I would let this thing come down, and then once those calls expire or you are able to get out, I would just sell more covered calls against it. Because I think if you sell those shares, so let's say you capture the premium 40%, yeah, you got 340s. You have two main resistance. Maybe you get called away. But if you're fine selling the 340, you're gonna be profitable up there anyway, who cares? Right? Then you're getting your shares out for more money. But you also have 318.17 as a good resistance, and you got 328.60 as a good resistance. If it gets all that and then $12 higher and you get called away, well, you're making a heck of a lot more money than if you just sell your shares here. So I think you're in a good spot. Let theta continue to kick in a little bit. From this is what I would do. This is what I would do. And then as soon as those close out or you do take the gains, I would go in, sell another 340. You're not going to get the same premium, but who cares? Now you're just let the market let fight the market to take the shares because I think over time Tesla probably will be higher. So then you're kind of bailing out here, and then what happens if you get a bullish day? You don't want to buy back in, and I think it gets complicated. Then you get the tax implications of it too. You get taxed on the 4,000 as opposed to just the cover calls that you're getting free money out of. So for me, I wouldn't panic. I would just go with the fluctuations of the market. Nike. Yeah, if you think about it too, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but if you think about it, and again, I don't know if you have 100 shares of Tesla or 1,000 shares of Tesla or 1 million shares of Tesla. I have no idea. I don't know your financial situation. I don't know if you need the money this week. All that stuff would play into it. But if you don't, right, you own an asset. Everybody's just like stocks or tickers, and you own a physical asset. Now you have an asset that could produce that number one could continue to go up in value over time. But number two is it's kind of like you own a house. If you just continuously sell puts, or if you're selling calls against it, you have monthly income coming in from that asset that you're just collecting every single month. The more you do it, the less risky Tesla becomes. So it's a 401k. Yeah, so I would just let it produce some monthly income for you. That's what I would do. Let it do its thing, and I think eventually you'd be good with it. But yeah, the longer you own a stock in general, whether you're collecting dividends or you're selling calls against it, just the longer you own something, the less risky it's going to become. And then the entire time, if you're able to sell calls and just keep escaping and maybe put in those higher and higher as the stock continues to come up higher, okay, now you've have a producing asset that produces monthly income and revenue, and you're able to take portions of. And again, if you have a lot of time, it doesn't even matter what price, but you can sell those calls and then take that and reinvest it. I did a model on PayPal. Let me cover Tesla first. I mean Nike first. Nike is a gap and go. You're opening at an interesting price. Uh, Depends again where this one opens. If it opens right where it's at now 76.71. I think you do have some room to the higher side. 77.37 will be the next one. 77.79, I think, is your extended target for today. So I kind of like Nike. We'll put that one higher on the list. But I did do a model on PayPal of how to retire on $50,000. Obviously, the one thing you're going to need is time, but uh, PayPal, just out of curiosity, and I was down when I did this thing. It was like back here, but it was you're putting $50,000 into PayPal, and then you're just selling the cover calls against it. But then instead of just taking that money and doing something else, you're taking that all the gains from those covered calls and you're just reinvesting it back into shares at whatever price. Right? So you should be doing it still here, right? And you're just constantly selling covered calls and you're buying those prices higher. But what you're doing is you're getting higher position size. And then now because you have higher positions, you're able to sell more covered calls against that position. Right. And then as the stock goes up higher, so at $60, if you're selling out of the money, I don't know, $70 cover calls, you're getting paid. But if you're selling it higher, that the value of that asset is higher, so those cover calls prices are higher too. Right. So you actually be making more money as just kind of time goes on. And then you're kind of building it out and just using the compound interest kind of model. You could take $50,000, and I think it was like within, I think it took like 20 years, but your portfolio is over $1 million of PayPal shares. And then at that point, you just keep selling cover calls and you use that money to live on. So pretty interesting, pretty interesting. But um, Don't freak out in the markets. It's okay. Joe says I bought Micron yesterday. Should I throw it away today because it sucks already about to hit my stop? Well, why is everybody freaking out today? Why is everybody this is the fifth down day, looking like the fifth fifth down day. Everyone's like, I'm gonna get out. I can't take it anymore. We're still up for the year, the month. Everyone step back. The good news is, what I love to hear, Joe, is that you do have a stop on this one. So if you get stopped, you're comfortable with the risk, then no problem. I think again, well, right now you're opening a little bit into the no man's land. I'm not sure exactly where your stop's at, but it sounds like a trade, not an investment. Maybe something that you're not overly. Hopefully you're okay again with the risk. If you get stopped out, that's why it's there. Micron does not look great. It as soon as it started to hit that 200, came up, retested. We're on the wrong side of it. You do have this potential double bottom down here. If you're going to get stopped out, then okay, you get stopped out, you move on. You got another trade tomorrow, right? It's not the end of the world. It's a good location for it, but it does look weak. It probably will come in to close this gap somewhere around 95.37 today. It is a retest gap, but we're in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not sure where this thing opens. You have a little bit of support here. I would think. I was about to say I would suggest, like I was going to call Micron up and be like, listen, this is what I think you guys should do, Micron. You should be bought up at open. But I think this one probably closes that gap at some point today. I'm not sure if you get stopped out again, how close your stop is. But I would think you probably get bought up here. Look for that 99.39. If you're trying to escape, that would be a spot I would look for. Otherwise, maybe move your stops up to below today's candle. It looks like it kind of wants to fill at least this gap to 95.37 at this point. You still have another wide open gap down here too. So if this market actually wants to pull back and have a decent pullback, 89.54 is a price we could see again on Micron. So we will see. I got some shares down here somewhere for the long term, but again, long term, not really touching it. Jeff says, curious why you chose PayPal for that model. Just because I was bullish on PayPal at that point. If you're doing that kind of method, right? You can model it on anything, but it's something that you want to be bullish. And I thought PayPal was a very underwhelming price at that point. I think it was a good deal. I think in the future for PayPal, it was something that I thought personally was going higher. If you're doing it on a stock that is just crashing, like if you're doing it on Moderna, mRNA, which now is in no man's land, right? So this is probably eventually to an area where like you could probably throw some money at this one just in case. I mean, again, not a recommendation. Uh, it could definitely come lower. Depends. I mean, they do have some revenue, so they do make 1.8 billion. So it's not like they're in the. It's not like they're have no cash flow whatsoever, but they are still kind of losing. But if you're taking a chart that looks like this, um, and they don't make money, there's no optimism for them. You don't really see a path for them to go higher. Like this would not be a company, but a company like Tesla, a company like PayPal, I like Baba still. Um, Disney probably a little bit ago. Nike would be a good one. We were just talking about Nike. I think Nike has that pretty good pricing where even if you get filled lower, so if you want to start by selling puts, if you don't have shares, or if you're just buying 100 shares, I mean, you're not spending that much money for 100 shares around here. You're getting a decent price. They pay dividends on top. So now you have kind of that extra multiplier in this one. But I think over the course of 10 years, I think Nike figures it out and probably the price is higher than where it's at now. So you're looking for some of those stocks that are decent for pricing. Tesla would be good, but again, maybe if you want to start it, see if it comes a little lower, or start selling puts as opposed to if you don't have shares, you're going to sell puts as opposed to the covered calls. But something like that. So something that I think is just kind of undervalued that eventually goes higher because it's a bullish type model. It's a company that you think is going to be around for the next 10 years, right? If they get delisted and go bankrupt, not a great system, but interesting. Scintilla says, will you buy Bitcoin at 90K Okay. Interesting. Interesting, Santilla. You want me to buy something close to the all-time highs. That being said, I think the answer to that question, I'm not even going to answer that question for me personally, but I'm going to throw it back at to you and to any of you crypto heads. If you think that eventually Bitcoin hits the $1 million target that everybody was pumping on YouTube, then you have plenty of room. You could buy it today, you could buy it tomorrow, you could buy it on dips, you could buy it if it goes up because it's not at your price. For me, I'm not going to be buying it here. I don't know where the price of Bitcoin actually is. I still am not even sure it's a real thing yet. I'm still debating, but I kind of like it. I'm not opposed to it. I do own some. I just own it much lower. If this one pulls back on pullbacks, I would look to buy it. For here, maybe it just breaks out from here and 90,000, whatever, and just keeps going. And who cares? I'm in it already. But yeah, I'm not for me chasing it here. I have no like I must own all the Bitcoins in the world. I'm not Michael Saylor. But if this one does come down, probably at least into like the 706 dollar zone. Keep in mind, it's still the wild west of trading, right? So we had a good pump here, 39,000 all the way up to 73. And this would be if in comparison to around the time that you're asking me that now, like would I buy it at 70? In hindsight, in the future, yeah, that would have been a good price, right? So it did go higher, but there was better pricing to buy it. Right? It came all the way back down from 79 to looks like we got to 50. So it could go in big swings. I try not to get the FOMO. I just let it do its thing and on dips and you could dollar cost average weekly, monthly. Yeah, yeah. If you ask Yates, the answer is yes, all in at every level. So that's fun, you know. DPZ had earnings. Yep, DPZ. Good beat on this one. Nice gap to fill. And I think we are just almost at a good location. I would love to see this thing come a little bit higher. Anything above $400 and 460, 47 would be a good price. Otherwise, if it can get past that, which it's trying, but that would take us up to about 475. So it's got some room. Buffett was buying, I believe. Everybody else in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons. You guys are awesome. Be careful. It's Friday. You don't have to go all in. It's okay. Just take a breather. If the market's red, it's red. Eventually, over time, it will be green again. I promise. I promise at some point. But you guys are awesome, and I'll catch